Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Associate Professor of Literature and Vice Provost for Undergraduate Academic Development, Brian Waterman.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Enduring University. I'm Brian Waterman, Vice Provost for Undergraduate Academic Development here at NYU Abu Dhabi. It's my pleasure today to welcome you to this special event, which not only marks our university's 10th anniversary, but also looks ahead to its next decade and beyond. As you probably know, last spring the global pandemic postponed the official induction of Vice Chancellor Mariët Westermann. Today serves as an opportunity finally to hear some of what we missed on that occasion, including Mariët's address on the state of the university, a much updated version, I imagine, considering all we've recently experienced. As much as we have lost and mourned in the past months, and as much conflict and anxiety continues to trouble our globe, there are moments of grace or reprieve as well. One of these is the chance to celebrate not only Mariët's induction, but our resilience in the face of adversity. We're also able now to celebrate the arrival of our new Provost, Arlie Petters. My primary responsibility today, and my great pleasure, is to introduce him to you. If you've read any of the press surrounding Arlie's appointment last summer, you may know the major landmarks of his life and career. He was born in Belize, educated as an undergraduate at Hunter College in New York City, and trained for his PhD in math and physics at MIT, where he finished in the early 1990s. He began his professorial career at Princeton before moving to Duke University in 1998. He was the first African-American mathematician tenured at Duke. At his promotion to full professor, he received a joint appointment in math and physics. He spent a decade with an additional appointment as a professor of business administration and then traded off for another 5 years as a professor of economics. In addition to a highly productive research career in these many fields, his time at Duke included multiple administrative and leadership positions, including serving as the Dean of Academic Affairs for Duke's Trinity College of Arts and Sciences and Associate Vice Provost for Undergraduate Education. The arc of this career, including his decision to join NYU AD as provost, highlights two major characteristics that have been evident to me since our first conversations last spring. One, his career testifies to his deep investment in secondary and undergraduate education, especially in mentoring. 15 years ago, he founded the Petters Research Institute in Belize to help mentor students in the STEM disciplines. At Duke, in addition to overseeing broad portions of the undergraduate programs, he served as a Bass Professor, an award that recognizes faculty who embody excellence in research and teaching. He even lived among students for a time as faculty in residence in one of Duke's first-year halls. These are the marks of someone deeply invested, not just in universities, but in students. The very first thing he said to me after he arrived in Abu Dhabi in August was, "Tell me about the strengths and weaknesses of our faculty mentoring system." Clearly, his work as provost will mean a commitment to teaching and mentoring, as well as to world-class research and innovation. The second thing Arlie's career amplifies is an ability to make connections across fields and disciplines, not just math and physics, but economics and business, and even the arts. In a 2012 interview, he attributed his multidisciplinary disposition to the integrated approach of a favorite high school teacher in Belize. But he extended it as well to an early desire to be an artist. He came to appreciate, as his studies progressed, what he called an artistic dimension to mathematics. It provoked in him the same kind of feelings he was getting when he made art or listened to music. And in that interview, he name-checks Otis Redding and Al Green and even ABBA as important to his intellectual development. His attention to the importance of feeling in an educational environment has led him to publish, along with dozens of peer-reviewed essays, a monograph, and textbooks, essays on values such as diversity, inclusion, and belonging in the academy. In short, Arlie doesn't just come to NYU AD with a passion for research and teaching. He embodies the same values we aspire to cultivate in our students: the capacity to make connections across domains of knowledge, across academic fields, and across cultures, and to do so motivated by an urgent sense of empathy and social impact. Please join me in welcoming Provost Arlie Petters.
Thank you, Brian, for such a kind introduction. My warmest greetings to all members of the NYU Abu Dhabi community, students, faculty, staff, and alumni who are joining us from campus and across the globe. I am super delighted to join the ranks of the Desert Falcons. Having arrived in Abu Dhabi about 2 months ago, I am so grateful to the incredibly warm welcome I have received. I can tell that this is an uncommonly special place. NYU AD is a remarkable university in a spectacular city and country. When looking at NYU AD from the outside, what stood out was the boldness and pioneering spirit of the university, coupled with it being located in a global metropolis that is marching towards greater transformation, diversification, and a knowledge-based economy. As we celebrate 10 years of distinction and innovation, I'm excited to build on the work that has been accomplished thus far. We will continue the trajectory of excellence generated by this intellectual and creative community. Equally important factors that make me so excited to be here are the amazing NYU AD leadership and community, our supportive government partners, and the city of Abu Dhabi. I am honored to serve under the far-reaching and forward-thinking leadership of Vice Chancellor Mariët Westermann, and NYU AD is most fortunate to have her at its helm. She's truly an embodiment of its excellence and values. Vice Chancellor Westermann is an infinite reservoir of encouragement and positive energy, and an inspiration to us all. As Provost, my role is the Chief Academic Officer of the university. I subscribe to the notion of a servant leader, a term coined by Robert Greenleaf in 1970. Quoting from the Greenleaf Center, a servant leader focuses primarily on the growth and well-being of people and the communities to which they belong. The servant leader shares power, puts the needs of others first, and helps people develop and perform as highly as possible. My provostial responsibilities include leading a team, developing and steering the teaching and research priorities of the university, and managing all academic matters pertaining to our undergraduates, graduate students, postdoctoral fellows, and faculty. Perhaps the most important part of my job as provost that transcends the day-to-day transactional activities is to listen and engage others in reflecting deeply on the purpose and academic direction of the university and the qualities that make it enduring. NYU AD's existence reflects the vision of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed and the former president of NYU, John Sexton. At a philosophical level, our purpose is similar to that of any great teaching and research university, namely to advance the human capacity to understand and address our shared reality, especially the challenges impacting the human condition. such as sustainable development and climate change, health, water and food security, poverty, conflict, and information security. In less than 10 years, NYU AD has helped to advance the human potential by creating a world-class, innovative undergraduate liberal arts program, which produced 14 Rhodes Scholars and has an admissions rate of 4%. Along with expanding students' competencies in core areas of knowledge and modes of inquiry pertinent to a dynamic, modern, and inclusive society, our undergraduate curriculum embraces complexity and ambiguity and deepens understanding of self and others. Additionally, NYU AD has helped to address global challenges through wide-ranging research initiatives and partnerships with Abu Dhabi institutions. Building on the energy and momentum of all that has been accomplished to date and continuing the path of excellence, the academic growth trajectory of NYU AD is for it to take an enduring place among the world's foremost teaching and research universities. We started a faculty-led process this semester that takes stock of our existing intellectual assets and leverages them as we look towards the next decade as part of a transparent and dynamic academic strategy for NYU AD and its vibrant intellectual and creative community in its multiple exciting forms and manifestations. As part of that, we will purposefully and strategically develop a network of catalyzing relationships among our preeminent undergraduate core, our burgeoning graduate and postdoctoral programs, our current excellence in research and its dissemination and translation beyond the academy, our creative productions and entrepreneurial innovations, our positionality within the NYU Global Network, and our connectivity to the priorities of Abu Dhabi and the UAE. Along with the academic strategy, we must pay keen attention to the underlying human element. We can have the best academic strategy. We can have the best plans to position ourselves academically on the world stage. We can have the best plans to understand and address the challenges of our shared reality. But these efforts will not be enduring if they do not sit on a solid foundation that maximizes the human potential. Let me explain what I mean. Before arriving to Abu Dhabi, I sought out information on the history of the UAE, how this nation was formed, and its aspirations and innovations. I was particularly drawn to the history of pearl diving here, and how the pearl diving industry itself helped to establish the foundation for the coastal cities of Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Interesting as well was the fact that UAE pearls are documented to have traveled far and wide and were traded in many parts of the ancient world. Beyond the industry and trade, there is a lot to learn from a pearl. A colleague at my former institution taught me that pearls are the result of discomfort. A small grain of sand or grit works its way into an oyster. To rid itself and manage this vexation, the oyster develops nacre on the surface of the irritant, giving rise to a pearl, an object of great beauty and significance. The uncomfortable experience of the oyster, which results in something wonderful, can be applied to our own experiences of living with discomfort. I know too well what it's like to be received as a grain of sand. I know too well the suffering arising from discrimination, unfairness, suspicion, alienation, and patronizing behavior. How wonderful it would have been if I were in an oyster that would engage the discomfort, layering me with the positivity of nacre. Such healthy engagement allows institutions, societies, nations, and the world to harness and maximize excellence across humanity. Sitting with difference, especially when it is uncomfortable, gives rise to transformation, to deeper understanding, to empathy, and to compassion. No matter where we are in the world, the challenges we face around inclusion and belonging, and around sitting with difference, help us to develop our capacity for tolerance and openness, and connect us with our common humanity. They create pearls within us. NYU AD and the city that is our host are microcosms of the world. We're global like Abu Dhabi itself, in the sense that our 1,600 undergraduates come from over 115 countries. Universities like ours exist to pursue inquiry and discovery, to advance community and societal development, and to make positive differences in the world. At NYU AD, our academic strategy will be undergirded by enduring qualities of our common humanity. We foster a culture built on values that entail academic freedom, empathy, diversity, inclusion, belonging, and equity. We foster a culture guided by principles that include collaboration and interdisciplinarity in all its many guises, global citizenship and leadership, mentoring and organizational health, and service to society and the world. We foster a culture where these values and principles inform an acceptance of and openness towards other ways of knowing and knowledge production. It informs a desire to listen to and communicate with colleagues from other fields that is guided by mutual respect and collegial solidarity. It informs a willingness to learn from and help others. Let me say a little bit more about the concept of organizational health. To quote Lencioni, one of its pioneers, organizational health is a multiplier of intelligence. He states most organizations exploit only a fraction of the knowledge, experience, and intellectual capital that is available to them. But the healthy ones tap into almost all of it. That, as much as anything else, is why they have such an advantage over their unhealthy competitors. To be enduring, NYU AD will purposely place its academic strategy within a culture where our values and principles are pronounced, where our organizational health is promoted, where diverse faculty, students, staff, and visitors from all over the globe can experience a genuine acceptance and respect, an authentic valuing of difference, and an uplifting collaborative environment maximizing their excellence. Only with such a culture where the organizational health of our community is central. Can we sustain an ecosystem with vulnerability-based trust, healthy conflict, commitment, peer-to-peer accountability, and sustainable high performance? These enduring traits will continue to entice and retain the best students, faculty, and staff from across the globe. This gives us a distinct signature on the world stage and propels us to excel in ways that are extremely difficult for more established universities with a history of deeply entrenched silos and fiefdoms. Being such a young university, we distinguish ourselves by fostering a culture of collaboration, diversity, inclusion, belonging, and organizational health. Under Vice Chancellor Westermann's leadership, we promote a culture anchored in values and principles that uplift and maximize the human potential of everyone in our community, and have that culture undergird our academic strategy. As pioneers, we shall, with immense energy and unrelenting determination, propel NYUAD onwards and upwards on a trajectory to an enduring and distinctive place among the world's great universities. I know that as we move towards greater heights in research and education, we will endure because we will remain grounded in authentically valuing and supporting humanity, generously sharing our expertise, knowledge, and creative outputs for the benefit of society, the region, and the world. I'm honored to be a part of this calling. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Scholars Program alumna, Salma Al-Darmaki.
Dear Vice Chancellor Westermann, Provost Petters, students, faculty, and all of NYU Abu Dhabi, I am so honored to be here with you today to speak to you about the impact of this wonderful university on myself and other alumni and why I stay connected. To all of you new to NYU Abu Dhabi, warmest welcome, or as we say in my mother tongue, marhaba. NYUAD has made immense progress in its first decade, but I know that committing to this university and this community is still a bit of a risk. Each one of you has excelled in your academic and professional journeys, and you've all chosen NYU Abu Dhabi as a place to grow. I am here to tell you that you've made the right decision. I committed to this great community 12 years ago when I joined the Sheikh Mohammed Scholars Program. At the time, NYUAD consisted only of the remarkable energy of John Sexton, Mariët Westermann, the late Hilary Ballin, Diane Yu, and a few others. There was no campus, just a group of dedicated leaders, academics, staff, and a selected few students from across the UAE, gathered in a rented hotel conference room, building the foundations of NYUAD. The theme for today's convocation is the enduring university, and many aspects of my time in NYUAD truly endured. The people I met have become my closest and most enduring friends. Friendships cemented by intellectual debate, mutual respect, passion for service, and a willingness to engage with novel ideas. Those colleagues and friends have gone on to remarkable accomplishments. They lead organizations, build ecosystems, and make positive change in their communities. We also compete, but also serve as each other's strongest support system. During my time with NYU AD more than a decade ago, we were introduced to a young Emirati woman, identified as a future leader. Today, Her Excellency Noura Al-Kaabi is the Minister of Culture and Youth, and I only met her again in 2018, after which I immediately joined her team. In the same ministry, we have Her Excellency Shamma Al-Mazrou'i, Minister of State for Youth, who is an NYU AD alumna. Both women have been named by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the Prime Minister of the UAE, as exceptional ministers. I also have a very strong NYU AD alumna as part of my team, and the only challenge there is convincing her to take her weekends. She and I were part of a very small team that campaigned for a seat in the executive board of UNESCO. The UAE won the highly coveted seat. In these cases and countless others, I've watched NYU AD grow from an idea to an institution with a stellar track record of identifying, building, and attracting talent to propel Abu Dhabi and the UAE to its ambitious future. I have stayed connected with NYU AD because it is an ecosystem of creativity, intellectual exchange, and a celebration of diversity. I've laid on the ground of the Arts Center with refugees whispering in my ears. I have met the brightest coders from across the Arab world and studied the links between Hebrew and classical Arabic. Since its inception, this community has been immensely diverse and inclusive. While I've always cherished those values, NYU AD helped manifest them. My friendships were expanded to include people more diverse in every way. My understanding, awareness, and empathy all the more expanded as a result. This has become useful in my work, where good policies must reflect the needs of all members of the UAE community. Today, you are amongst the student body and faculty of an established institution. You have a campus where there was none just a few years ago, and a range of services, facilities, and academic options unparalleled. You have joined a remarkable university with a combination of superb leadership and long-term support that separates you from any other institution in the world. NYU AD will continue to grow, to locate itself in the UAE and globally. Thank you for joining a new chapter that will take NYU AD to greater heights, together, inclusively, and with kindness. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our first performance of the evening, NYU Abu Dhabi Adjunct Instructor of Music, Ioannis Patamoussis, performing Chopin Scherzo No. 3. Ladies and gentlemen, the Provost of New York University, Catherine Fleming.
It's very difficult to say in one simple phrase what it is that NYU as an institution consists of. What is its identity? And indeed, the great diversity of what it is that NYU is the thing that makes it such a wonderful place, after all. But I've spent a lot of time in my job as provost trying to think about commonalities across the institution. And one thing that increasingly emerges with great clarity is the tremendous strength of the university in applied research in the humanities, in the social sciences, and in the sciences alike. And NYU Abu Dhabi is uniquely positioned to play a central role in our growing reputation as the place for applied research.
Please welcome President of the NYU Abu Dhabi Student Government, Teodora Hristovska.
Dear senior leadership, dear students, staff, faculty, alumni, contracted staff. As the student government president, I'm delighted to welcome Provost Arlie Petters to our community. I'm certain that my peers share the excitement in welcoming your leadership and vision and look forward to shaping the story of NYU Abu Dhabi with you. You have joined us at a defining moment in time. Our 10th year anniversary was met with a global pandemic. In what seems like blink of an eye, we lost the in-person experience. And with it, many things we used to take for granted. In-person classes, working in the office, commuting, traveling, and much more. As an institution, NYU Abu Dhabi has met this challenge with exceptional durability and resilience. And we continue to do so every single day with much strength and grace from all of our community members. At the same time, it's important to take this moment and acknowledge that this has been a difficult year for many of us. Recognizing our personal hardships that came with this year is not a sign of weakness. In fact, it takes a lot of courage to do so. What makes our community special is its people, our highly motivated, creative, and bold students, our exceptional faculty, and our dedicated staff. Acknowledging our shared struggle will not make us lose those qualities as individuals or as a community. Nothing can take them away from us. Over the past 6 months, we have also seen how this pandemic has affected the individual experiences of students, staff, faculty, and the diversity that comes with it. As an institution, we have learned to appreciate and celebrate the beauty of our diversity, as we all should. As a community, we have also started to acknowledge the challenges that come with it. Different expectations, race, religion, cultural and socioeconomic backgrounds shape how we interact with each other. Many experiences we have in our community are not universally shared, but that doesn't invalidate them or make them less important to us. We all deserve the same respect, and we owe it to each other to recognize the privileges we hold as individuals, our flaws, and take actions towards sustainable solutions. In this regard, I want to thank our Vice Chancellor, Mariët Westermann, the Implementation Committee on Race, Diversity, and Belonging, as well as the students who took the initial step on this important journey. When I first came to NYU Abu Dhabi, I visited the campus as a guest, and I never had the intention to apply here. In fact, I never had the intention to study away from home. And NYU Abu Dhabi changed that for me. It made me consider applying because of its warm, vibrant, supportive community, which was exceptionally welcoming even towards me as a guest. Now, fast forward 4 years later, in this present moment, I can proudly say that we have still kept all those qualities as a community. And not even a global pandemic can break our community spirit that I witnessed the very first moment I stepped on campus. The support and empathy we have shown to each other transcends time and space, and right now is all around the world. I want to thank our Vice Chancellor, Mariët Westermann, our faculty and staff for all the efforts to ensure our institutional and academic progress and success. Provost Petters, I have no doubts that your leadership will prove instrumental for the years to come. Thank you for embarking on this mission with us. Finally, I want to thank my peers for not giving up on yourselves and others, for staying strong, and for sustaining the spirit of our community. This is a defining moment in time for us, and I'm honored to share it with all of you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our second performance of the evening, NYU Abu Dhabi, class of 2023, Grace Shia, performing Homage, a Johann Sebastian Bach by Bela Kovacs. We now present a special tribute to our contracted colleagues.
My name is Sakhawat Mehboob. I'm from Pakistan. This campus was still under construction. That time I joined from the first batch of security.
My name is Emilita and I'm from Philippines. And I also work in NYU almost 9 years.
I'm Rosita Gadasa from Philippines and I'm working in NYU more than 6 years already.
My name is Melba Paunat Sosa. We work first in Sama Tower like 4 years.
My name is Muhammad Naveed. I'm working with NYU Abu Dhabi since April 2014. First we worked in summer towers, but when we came in the campus, it started graduation of first group, class of 2014. So, and at that time, Bill Clinton, American president, came. So, like, it was a nice experience.
In NYU Abu Dhabi, more than security, we are doing customer service as well, to dealing with the people with the proper way. And NYU Abu Dhabi, who they're giving us classes even for the customer services.
We are here to protect people. We are protecting people are safe. They're feeling safe because of us. That's the best thing for us.
What is really good here in Saadiyat is the community where they are really very supportive to us. This is my second home. Like after my vacation, I'm excited to come back because of the community.
I'm so good to them because they are so good to me. Some of them, they treat me like a mother. Some of them, they treat me like an auntie. Some of them, they treat me like a ate, yeah.
When I came in the UAE, I was completely different than now. My family members, who they are really educated, and when they sit with me, I'm very confident to talk with them. And they are asking me which environment you are living right now. They are telling me that you are lucky that you have that kind of community where you're working in. As a family.
NYU is a global world. Like, we have different peoples from different nationalities, different religion. We learn here like religious harmony. We learn here cultural awareness.
I mean, I cannot forget the experience here, to work here, because they are very respect to me and they are like me as I am.
I think NYU, there's no staff, there's no faculty, there's no students. Like, everyone treat us same.
During the COVID-19, our instruction was changed. It's a busy job because you have to monitor each and everything in NYU campus. But when here is no one here, we feel a little sad as well.
Some of them are not here. When I saw their friends, so I always told them, do you have any contact for your friend named like this? Can you give my regards to them?
Even the pandemic, they want to hug me. But I said, stop.
Rules and regulations or instructions we are giving to the community, they always understand it. Sometimes we know that it's annoying to stop them always, but they always understand our situation. It was really hard for us. But now, students are here, they're moving here, and some staffs are coming. Slowly, community is coming back to normal.
Please welcome Professor of Physics and Dean of Science, Marta Losada, and Dean's Fellow and NYU Abu Dhabi Class of 2020 alumni, Mohammed Wasim Chaudhry.
Dear Vice Chancellor Mariët Westermann, Provost Petters, esteemed guests, and the other members of the NYU community. I am Marta Losada, Dean of Science and co-chair of the Implementation Committee on Race, Diversity, and Belonging.
And I am Mohammed Wasim Chaudhry, a recent NYU AD graduate. I currently serve as a Dean's Fellow on campus, and I also co-chair the committee. As co-chairs of this committee, we are excited to be a part of this event to showcase the importance of this work of diversity, equity, and inclusion in this institution. The implementation committee consists of 18 members, 5 faculty members, 8 staff members, 5 students who are also passionate about this work. Thank you, Vice Chancellor Mariët, for giving us the opportunity to lead this committee. On the 1st of July, Mariët made commitments to our institution to ensure we are truly inclusive. With the beauty of our diversity comes challenges, and it is apparent that our university is not immune to racism. A lot of experiences have been brought up by students in the Gazelle articles, dialogues with community members, and they have all portrayed the challenges that exist on our campus and how it has had a negative impact on the community. This committee was tasked to make recommendations to the commitments Mariët made in the July 1st memo, and we are also helping clarify those commitments so that they can be well implemented. One of our biggest roles is to find out how exactly our community feels about race and racism, and we have been so fortunate to have held multiple listening sessions with different stakeholders to hear their thoughts and perspectives on this matter. Moreover, we want to commission data gathering on demographic diversity that is most appropriate to this complex NYU AD community. The vision for this committee is that we will be able to create a space where our university and our community members feel a strong sense of belonging. With everything that is happening in the world in regards to anti-Black racism and violence, we are all aware of the historic issues of inequity and injustices that are present. And as co-chairs of this committee, we are striving to make sure that this matter is of great importance to this institution. We as NYU Abu Dhabi are resilient and powerful. We are determined to fight and solve this systemic problem, and our hope is to reach a greater state of transparency in discussing such sensitive topics on race, diversity, and inclusion. We are grateful for the assistance and support our committee has received from different stakeholders, and we will do our best to make this institution anti-racist and truly inclusive. As a mixed-race individual, I have heavily struggled with my identity growing up. Over time, I have learned the different nuances associated with being biracial, the privileges and the non-privileges I hold. And this makes this work very personal to me. Not only do I want to provide a voice and a space for my own identity, I am also fueled to make sure community members who have faced similar struggles felt heard and listened to. And I want them to feel included and cared for in this institution.
Similar to Wasim, I come from a mixed cultural heritage and grew up in a country where this was rather exceptional. However, for my siblings and I, our sense of belonging was pretty natural. All with strong identities and characters, but morphing across cultures and in the end enjoying as much an almohavana as my mother's apple pie. I recognize the role of those around us in ensuring this. Although this is very positive in my long academic trajectory and in my own discipline, I recognize many other situations and systemic issues that have strong negative effects on academic community members from either bias or lack of opportunities. Having arrived at NYU AD over a year ago, highly motivated, but by what I perceive as a clear institutional goal of creating opportunities at the highest level for a community originating around the globe, I thank Mariët, in spite of all the work, for asking me to co-chair 2 important committees that have provided me with a deep dive into NYU AD in completely different dimensions. Co-chairing the Evolution of the Academic Institution Working Group was an exercise in understanding the academic pathway, goals, and vision of this institution. It was my privilege to have worked with all committee members, and especially with Brian Waterman. My current co-chair on the Implementation Committee, Wasim, and I, on the face of it, we could not be more different. From completely different backgrounds, pathways, and academic disciplines. I do not know how Mariët does it, but in both cases, not only did we sync really well, but she devised 2 of the most certain ways for me to know the institution and its community. I am extremely grateful for the opportunities of working with both of them. With Wasim, in such a short time, I've come to feel a deep appreciation and respect for him as we tackle this important challenge. Given these 2 examples, with Mariët now bringing Arlie to NYU AD, I think we all can look forward to our joint work with him. The work of the Implementation Committee will be helpful to the process and to the goals that the Vice Chancellor and now the Provost have very close to their heart and values, and to instill the institutional culture. The relevance of the work of the Implementation Committee cannot be underscored enough. NYU AD wants to ensure that it distinguishes itself as an institution for learning, for research, and scholarly inquiry, but also in addressing inclusion, equity, diversity, and belonging. It has become evident through our initial work that there are important challenges. Some of them may in fact surpass the scope of the initial commitments, but our aim is to produce a clear picture of what these challenges are and to make recommendations to address them. It is also absolutely necessary to communicate thoroughly, to manage expectations on what will be immediate, medium-term, and long-term implementations. However, in addition to the institutional structures and strategies that can be implemented, we also would like to have everyone consider their own individual role as part of this community. As diverse as we are, based on our common humanity, each of us can reflect and realize how we can add to the solutions, and very importantly, to the institutional environment, so that hopefully equity and belonging becomes the norm. Thank you.
Please welcome the Vice Chancellor of NYU Abu Dhabi, Mariët Westermann.
Good afternoon, NYU Abu Dhabi. Thank you all for being here to welcome our new Provost, Arlie Petters, and to reflect on the state and the future of our beloved institution. Welcome, Arlie. Before I go on, let me say what an incredible, moving joy it is for me to stand in the Blue Theater. I hope that you recognized it, our wonderful recital hall. We are doing this under all health guidance from the ministry, as you can imagine, but we did want to have a little bit of that sense of our enduring physical community as well as our virtual one. I want to thank everyone who's made this special occasion possible, particularly our fantastic, tireless event staff for all the beauty around us, and our most inspiring speakers and musicians. Since you are of the community, you know you've only just seen a snapshot of our incredible talent, our creativity, our ideas capacity. I will have more to say about it, but I just want to say, you know, so many of you could have stood here too or contributed in different ways. We were trying to make this, you know, as snappy as we could. And I think that the themes that have been sounded, I hope you will hear echoed in what I'm going to say to you. There's more wonderful music to come after me, so that is an incentive, if no other, to hang on till the very end. So my first State of the Campus address is 8 months late. I'm really sorry. A year ago, we began a transition initiative to ascertain the interests, the potentials, the dreams that propel our learning community. And this process was designed to inform a State of the Campus address that I was going to give at my inauguration in March 2020. Which would mark also our 10th anniversary and help launch us into our second decade. Just 3 months later, and a lot of work later, the inauguration was the very first event we canceled as we began to adjust to an unsparing pandemic. The work of so many to prepare for this beautiful inauguration event has not been lost. Our 5 transition working groups of faculty, staff, and students organized quite, you know, the implementation committee you just heard from is kind of constituted on that same model. These 5 working groups of faculty, staff, and students energetically and thoughtfully sourced ideas and feelings about the university from across our campus. The groups took on big picture topics, that was the goal, that could help us understand the state of NYU AD, the evolution of our academic institution, chaired by Marta and Brian, as you heard, the interaction between the disciplines and interdisciplinarity on our campus, campus culture, knowledge infrastructure, and the question of what NYU Abu Dhabi is as an anchor institution of Abu Dhabi and the UAE. In February, the group sent me 5 crisp reports, about 5 to 7 pages, and I read them with relish and excitement as they were full of profound thought and passion and understanding of our mission. That very week, our collective priorities had to shift to safeguarding the health of our community and maintaining academic continuity as well as we could, the 2 touchstones for all our decisions this past year. Ever since, however, when I had a little time, I would go back to the reports, as they are a hopeful record of what NYU Abu Dhabi was at the cusp of the pandemic. It's hard sometimes to remember what it was, so it's actually great to have this record. We couldn't have planned it better. And all that you brought into those reports is still there, even if we have been living under shifting stars and will surely have to do so for longer. The transition working group reports will be made available to our entire community this week. We are ready to keep building on this work now. They are high-level, generative documents, not detailed plans, but they are full of observations and suggestions that were decanted from your collective inputs. And they will thus help guide the development of our academic strategy that Arlie has described and that he has initiated, to my great joy. And that academic strategy, once that gets evolved, say by early spring semester, in turn is going to let us chart the next steps on our trajectory to become a world-class university in and of Abu Dhabi, in and of New York University, and in and of the world. The reports, as you will see when you read them, provide ringing endorsement of NYU Abu Dhabi's foundational vision that Arlie has spoken about, to be a resolutely international learning community grounded in Abu Dhabi, and one that combines an innovative liberal arts education with the research capacities of a major global research university, NYU, and one that would eventually, as we've begun to do, build graduate programs. The reports acknowledge that no university is perfect, but that NYU Abu Dhabi has the people, the values, and the infrastructure to fill out this founding vision, and that is the task for our second decade together. Thanks to your resilience this year, I can now finally give that State of the Campus address. If it is not quite what I would have said on March the 9th, the university values that are encapsulated in the reports have been so evident to me during the pandemic that this speech is not different in essence from what I drafted in February. One thought, however, stands out more clearly to me now. NYU Abu Dhabi's extraordinary endurance, we've endured a lot, but our extraordinary endurance not only says a lot about our caring and determined community, but it also exemplifies what a university is as an enduring institutional form. I would like to unfold that convergence between NYU AD as a resilient learning community and the university as a civil society institution, as a type of great longevity. Now, I know it may seem strange to talk about the state of our campus when about half of us are not here, and this event is mostly virtual. How are we a campus in our remote plus dispensation? Now, I've always thought of campus as a metaphor as well as a place. Campus in Latin means field, and those iconic green spaces we love on university campuses in America and around the world have always been more than squares to hang out or fields to throw frisbees or kick around soccer balls. From Plato's Grove, outside Athens, to Thomas Jefferson's University of Virginia, the one he created. From Tsinghua University and its magical gardens to our own High Line and Palm Plaza, university greens have the metaphoric resonance of fields for cultivation, of gardens to be nurtured. And so even in our dispersed condition, we have maintained that sense of our institution as a site of growth. Here we grow. The truth of our 10th anniversary theme is self-evident. Here at NYU Abu Dhabi, we grow in two senses of the word. We grow as individuals, as learners, as scholars, as artists, as teachers, as community members, as purposeful human beings, as we've heard from so many today. And as a university, we also grow the way gardeners grow things, grow living things. We grow ideas, knowledge, inventions, beauty, insight, empathy, and most importantly, we enable our students to grow. In all of these ways, NYU Abu Dhabi has continued to grow, even if it hasn't been easy. For a youthful institution, a walloping pandemic and global economic crisis pose special risks. But our campus has weathered this double storm with heroic ingenuity and persistence. Despite the challenges, and they are wearying and they are difficult, as we've heard, we have maintained momentum in the three core areas of our mission: teaching, research, and making our community a model and engine for a better world. Those were our founding goals. You've heard me speak about all that many times, I think. You've heard me speak about our students, including our first years, who decided not to let the pandemic put their education or lives on hold. The hundreds of courses that our faculty have had to take online, and they've done so with creativity and grit, ingenuity. The powerful research our faculty have launched or maintained despite these constraints. You've heard about our staff supporting all of this work of maintaining academic continuity. And you've heard just now the leadership of our student government. And then there's the vigor of our campus life and arts programs that keep us connected. Sometimes I have 3 things to do in one evening. I don't know how that can be on Zoom, but it is the case. And so we keep saying we have Zoom fatigue, but I'm telling you, this community is continuing to Zoom in because we want to be together and continue our work. So we have remained a campus wherever our community is. The physical part of Saadiyat is coming back to life slowly, thanks to the phenomenal direction of our return to campus groups and process, and to the unrelenting work of our staff who keep us safe, healthy, and nourished in body and spirit. I am so grateful to all of you for making these improvements to our campus life possible by adhering so firmly as you do to the health and safety rules, even if the symptom tracker drives us crazy. As they say so well in this country, we are all responsible. We have been and we will be. We have gained fresh momentum, as you've heard, this year in the third part of our mission, that of being an intentional force for good in the world. Our robust conversations about diversity and belonging on campus are bridging the concerns of the world to those of our community as never before. We did this before the pandemic, but of necessity, we have to be more internally directed at this moment. And in this particular conversation, that is not a bad thing. These dialogues we are having are good, they're hard, they're necessary. The Transition Working Group on Campus Culture asks for a more purposeful approach to inclusion and equity on campus. And although that group found lots of contentment about many areas of our community life, it's a fabulous community, it noted that not all feel equally welcome or heard. And this work of inclusion that group foresaw as necessary has now been accelerated by our community's active response with courageous leadership from our students. Courageous response to what should be a simple truth, that Black lives matter. The implementation committee, from which you just heard, is listening with open ears, minds and hearts to our community and helping devise processes that should yield change in this regard. But as we strive for that more perfect campus, I think we have to acknowledge two realities. First, this work is hard because it addresses problems that are old and pervasive in the world. They're not from yesterday. We will not have instant success. But we can be hopeful because NYU Abu Dhabi is designed to recognize the humanity of all and tackle hard problems wherever that is not the case. Second, I want to acknowledge that the work is the job of all of us, as Marta and Basim have said. It is not just that of the remarkable leaders of our offices and our committees dedicated to it, although we need that leadership. Together, we can use our own fabled, not perfectly understood diversity to catalyze a more peaceful and just community and world. In sum, the state of our campus is strong. How is that? I would say that to deal with the current constraints of the pandemic, what you see us do is draw on the world's only resource that is truly renewable: human curiosity, knowledge, and creativity, and love. That resource of curiosity, knowledge, and creativity in particular is uniquely concentrated in universities because they are designed to magnetize the most curious, creative, and determined minds to them, to pursue questions wherever the answers may lead them. And it is that concentration of intellect and imagination that makes the university an enduring and adaptable institution. From Bologna to Oxford, from Fez to Beijing, from New Haven to Singapore, universities have maintained their essential mission for centuries, even if their content or how they do it evolves with society. Now you may say emphasizing the endurance of the university is counterintuitive, as this type of institution faces so many challenges now, from managing student health to securing solvency to surviving the advent of massive online instruction. And universities are struggling, indeed, to figure out how to restore old capacities and launch new ones after the pandemic recedes. They're struggling, but they're doing it. Universities have overcome existential threats throughout history, from war and persecution to pandemics and culture wars. They are among the most enduring organizations humans have invented. If they are not perfect, it is precisely because they stand in an enduring relationship to the societies that create and support them, and the societies change and their needs change. So even though we are justly proud of NYU Abu Dhabi's distinctiveness, we have inherited this legacy of the university as an adaptive and resilient organization that brings incomparable value to society. Great universities come in many shapes and sizes, and that's a strength of the higher education ecosystem. But if you think for a moment about what they have in common, the great universities, you can see that NYU Abu Dhabi is already a mighty member of the species at 10 years. So what are these elements that constitute the enduring form and value of universities, even when they're not perfect? First, universities are stewards and generators of any forms of knowledge and methods of inquiry, and those will change over time. The medieval universitas, a word indicating a complete community of scholars, a whole of all that can be known or should be striven to be known. That idea, that universitas, was designed to welcome any field of thought. For many centuries, it privileged religious, textual, and mathematical forms of knowledge. But that range has expanded and shifted wildly over time to include all forms of engineering, social science, and the arts, and much more. No university does everything, and we're not going to either, but each is universal in scope of what it could potentially study and teach. There's no other such type of institution, actually, on the planet. Second, great universities exist by and for their students. The original purpose of universities is to equip youth, a next generation of human beings, with knowledge and methods for seeking truth, so that they may live lives of civic contribution and personal fulfillment, and sustain the human story. The highest purpose of universities exists, it always has, in delivering such graduates to society. Every one of our 7 graduated classes, including the one Wasim just came from, is living proof of this. Third, universities advance knowledge even as they transmit it to the next generation. And their governance is structured to make sure that they can conduct research freely. Now, the primacy of teaching I've just mentioned can be a flashpoint for universities with high research ambitions. But most faculty, I think, know in their heart of hearts and agree that novel ideas are born of teaching, and that active research with students or transmitted to them makes education sing and relevant. A great university's research excellence stands in a reciprocal relation to its educational remit. And this is especially evident already at NYU AD. NYU Abu Dhabi has one of the liveliest undergraduate research programs I know, and I got to know a lot of them the past 10 years. And this is thanks to the gregarious curiosity of our students and the inspired leadership of our faculty. Fourth, if we can agree, as I hope you will, that the best universities advance universal knowledge and educate students in and for it, it may become easier to see that the idea of a liberal education is present in all of the best universities, and not only in the exceptional American form of the standalone liberal arts college. I make this point, it may not be so intuitive, because there's often a question at NYU Abu Dhabi about what the relationship between the liberal arts and research are, or can be. So I'd say that while the beating heart of NYU Abu Dhabi, its foundation, is an innovative version of a liberal arts college in the American way, we have intentionally embedded it by design in the plenitude of a research university, just as great universities from Princeton to Arlie's former institution, Duke, have always done. Even European universities, actually, never disclaimed the idea that they were providing a form of liberal education, with its roots in the medieval curriculum of language, mathematics, and music. More important than the term liberal arts is its purpose: helping students develop habits of thought, inquiry, and empathy that prepare them for living in an unpredictable world, and boy, do we live in an unpredictable world, and to gain skills that can launch them onto trajectories of leadership, fulfillment, and contribution, of purpose. Liberal education, to me, means learning in breadth and in depth, for perspective and expertise, for method and data. The difference between an American liberal arts education, in which we're rooted, and an arts and sciences program in Europe or Asia or Latin America, say, I think it's only one of degree. The greatest universities see themselves as engines of broad human development, as well as expertise that's needed by society. In 1916, when the Kingdom of Mysore in India created the first modern Indian university that was independent of the British Empire, it honored the goals of liberal education while fostering research and offering professional degrees. The first commencement speaker of the University of Mysore 2 years later, Sir Ashutosh Mukherjee, praised this direction. Sir Ashutosh is a fascinating figure. He was a great champion of education and a university rector several times over from Bengal. His graduation speech is a meditation on the enduring features and purposes of a great university. And he noted the following. I'll just quote him once. I could give you the whole speech, it'd be beautiful. We must realize that an institution of university rank must aim at a sphere of study and consequent influence as wide as the whole domain of human activity. It must frankly recognize the kinship of the arts and sciences and the inherent interdependence of all study and research, supplement theoretical by practical studies, and liberalize technical and professional instruction by organic connection with arts and letters, written some 2 decades before the word interdisciplinarity came into being in the United States. Mukherjee had much to say about the balance universities must also strike between their service to their home country and their participation in the international knowledge development enterprise. And this balance between the local and the global, the university of learning and the university that's a local resource, that balance is a fifth feature of all great universities, and it is one that is fundamental to our mission. Mukherjee saw that to fulfill all of these functions, it's a lot that universities have to do, and that to do all of them, universities need to be independent in what they decide to teach, who will do it, and how they will do it. And that they must have freedom to pursue academic inquiry wherever it leads, even if the products of a university, broadly construed, also must serve society to be viable. Universities need to be apart from society some of the time, but they also need to be part of it. Apart from and part of it. This tension is often a problem, or is perceived to be a problem, but it actually has sustained universities for centuries. Any university's endurance, as we have seen this year, depends on its capacity for renewal and innovation. And that capacity requires a fine balancing act, again, between the campus and the society. And that reality has implications for research in particular. A university research portfolio should have a healthy balance between basic research that's driven by boundless curiosity of the human imagination and applied inquiry that attends to what the world needs or could improve now in this moment. At NYU AD, we do both exploratory and applied research of extraordinary quality, even if, as Provost Katie Fleming has reminded us today, application is core to NYU as a private university for the public good, and that has always been true of the institution. To be of the fullest service to society today, great universities need one other type of balance. They need to strive for a curricular mix of undergraduate education, professional master's degrees, and doctoral programs that prepare the next generation of knowledge creators. Not one of these levels of education should override the needs and prerogatives of the others. They can live together and work together well. Today, we also welcome Carol Giannetti, our new Vice Provost for Graduate and Postdoctoral Programs, who joined us the same time Arlie did. Welcome, Carol. As our master's and PhD programs develop, our graduate student community will play ever more meaningful roles at NYU AD, in support of, rather than contradiction with, our great early history as primarily an undergraduate institution with very hefty research. So building a well-tempered, dynamic, curiosity-driven institution in the public service and doing it the NYU Abu Dhabi way, that is the task of our second decade. We will have to choose what seeds to sow, but our field of possibility remains unbounded because that's in the nature of great universities. Our future is ripe for work, more work between the disciplines that makes more of what each of our fields can yield by itself. There's tremendous opportunity to build forward on our existing strengths, tackling challenges from achieving a sustainable environment to improving public health, from enhancing cybersecurity to governing AI, from bending back the arc of inequality, bending it down, to fostering the arts as a resource for human flourishing, as we know they are. I've said a lot because this is a pivotal moment in our evolution. Although the pandemic has unleashed untold misery for so many, I believe in the end it will also clarify that universities are the wellspring of innovation, adaptation, and progress. It will clarify why knowledge matters, why education matters, why truth matters. It will clarify why universities endure, and that we will. At 10 years, NYU has proved itself to have the educational power, creativity, service orientation, and adaptability that has marked the greatest and most lasting universities. We have established our presence in that cohort, that extremely distinguished cohort, faster than any university in history, thanks to the vision of the leaders of this country and of NYU, thanks to our founding institutional leaders here, Al Bloom and Fabio Piano, and thanks to our steadfast Abu Dhabi partners, who have stood with us all the way and have done so again this year. And above all, it's thanks to you, our faculty, our students, our staff, our alumni, you who are NYU AD. But we have farther and higher to go. With all that we bring, NYU AD will continue its journey to become one of the most inspiring, most relevant, most successful, and most necessary institutions of its kind. Here we grow.
Our last musical performance of the evening, Hindustanik Electronica, a band created during the pandemic to explore online music making at NYU Abu Dhabi. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our program for this evening. Thank you.